Ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Doug Freidman Show. That is correct. We are here at Undefeated Media with a special, very, very special treat. We have Casey from the Flavor Labs. Casey, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive in to a lot of fun stuff. Casey runs the Flavor Labs. So we're going to get to know Casey and hopefully help you guys in marketing, social media, entrepreneurship, all things that business owners would be interested in. So welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just dive into it and get to know you, because Flavor Labs wasn't always what you did, right?
It was not.
So what did you do before the Flavor Labs?
Well, for 17 years.
Yes.
I know it makes me sound really old. For 17 years before I started at the Flavor Labs, I was actually in financial services. So I graduated with an undergraduate degree in finance and economics and started working at Merrill Lynch straight out of the gate.
What kind of financing were you doing?
So I worked in treasury, I worked in wealth management, and most recently, my last gig was actually something I was really passionate about. It was sustainable investing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sustainable investing sounds like a long-term investment.
It is, for sure. It's definitely thinking long-term, but it's about ways to align your portfolio or your investments with your beliefs. So think about investing in gender and diversity and investing in companies that make more economic decisions and decisions about the environment, things like that. Yeah.
I like it. Good
Pretty
stuff.
cool.
So then what kind of motivated you to leave finance and, start your own business?
Well, I come from a long line of teachers. I have a twin sister who's a teacher. My parents are teachers. My father was actually an elementary school principal. And I always wanted to be a teacher. But I think when I went to college and couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, I got some advice to go into finance and follow the money. So that's what I did. And it provided a pretty good career and stability for a while. But I knew deep down inside I always wanted to teach. And when I went to business school, I started in 2006. I went back to school part-time. I went at night. And I took some classes in entrepreneurship. And I had to put together a business plan for one of my classes. Wow. And I said, I've had this idea to open or to think about a kids cooking school. It was never realistic. It was kind of a pipe dream. So I started working on a business plan in 2006 with a classmate of mine. That classmate is actually now my husband.
Wow,
which is crazy. So if anybody knows how long this idea has been sort of brewing, it's my husband.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Just pulling up this, so everything's going smoothly. Beautiful. So then why, first off, I'm sure making the jump from your job to the unknown entrepreneur lifestyle was a little nerve-wracking. So why don't you give us a little juice about that?
Oh my goodness. It was a tough decision to start because, having a family and having responsibilities, you want to make sure you have steady income. And to sort of switch to a one income family for the indefinite future, it's a scary thing. But my husband said, look, if this is what you really want to do, and I know you've been dreaming about this since 2006, and fast forward, this conversation is taking place in 2019. So this is 13 years later. He said he'll be supportive of it. I think had he known what the world would bring us those next few months, he probably would have changed his mind. But February 26, 2020, I walked into work and I gave notice. And then about 2 weeks later, the world shut down.
So that was beneficial to you, right? I guess. I mean,
it was
yes and no, because people aren't going in person to things,
right?
But at the same time, you wouldn't be really working as much. I don't know.
So in the beginning, it was really scary because I had no idea what was going to happen. I started demo, so we had already signed a lease and started demo in our space. We were planning to open in May, but everything shut down for a few months. So I had to figure out.
Few months, more like a year.
Well, yeah. I mean, the construction halted. It picked back up a couple months later, but I had to figure out what a virtual cooking class was. That it wasn't a thing. That didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I started very slowly teaching cooking classes out of my kitchen on my laptop. I mean, you should have seen the setup I had, like cookbooks stacked up with like cameras like jerry rigged. It was very amateur, but it worked. And while that was happening, you know, we went back and finished up the construction and actually opened up the doors for the first Flavor Labs in Norwood, September 2020, which was crazy. And I think it was a blessing and a curse. And I think the blessing side of it was that people were really looking for things to do. People were looking to get their kids out of the house. And because we'd built such a beautiful new open clean space, I mean, our kitchen in Nord's 2,200 square feet. And we had every safety precaution in place that you could imagine. Our tables were 6 feet long. So by default, kids were sitting 6 feet apart. We had tape measures making sure they were spaced out this way. We only had 8 kids at a time, which was much lower than obviously what we had initially anticipated. But I think parents came in and felt comfortable dropping their children off. So we started out much smaller and much more slowly than I would have liked. But I think we sort of planted a seed with parents, and we gave them the comfort that they couldn't find in a lot of places. Like there were no bounce places, no gymnastics, no gyms, no sports for people to do. And so this was one of the few activities that children could start to do outside of their house again.
And a huge major plus is they don't have to clean up anymore.
Exactly.
They can make the mess at your place and then just leave.
Yes.
So we do want to remind you guys that we are live right now. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, you could put it in the comments section and we can answer it live with you today with Casey from the Flavor Labs. And so the comment section is open for questions. So let them rip. We would love to have you guys be part of the show. So you made the jump, started your business. What made you choose the food industry?
I think at one point, someone had posed the question, if you could do anything you want, what would it be? Nice. And I never really knew the answer to that. I don't think most people do. I think people kind of fall into a path and they sort of just follow it. That sort of path of least resistance. And someone had asked me, what would you like to do? And ideally, I'm like, the things that I love are children and food. And if I could combine those somehow, I mean, this seems like a cool gig, right? Never thinking it was something that would eventually become a reality. But that's sort of where it came from. Like, I love children. I love teaching, and I'm very passionate about food. I love to eat.
So I feel like, especially since you're in the financial world, right? Everyone, is looking to make a quick buck, but like in reality, you should look and see what you're good at. So like, if you're going to open up a hair salon, because like back in the day, I actually had a hair salon client who didn't know how to use.
I thought you were going to say you had a hair salon. I was going to be real impressed.
Not yet. But if I decide to have a hair salon, right? Or like we had a past client that had a hair salon, but didn't know how to cut hair. When you're starting a business, you need to know how to do every single position. Everyone could leave you one day. Like, you know what? We're out. Everyone could leave you. Are you gonna be able to cut the hair? Are you gonna be able to do the classes for Flavor Labs? Like, you want to make sure you're doing something that you're passionate about and know about. Don't just do stuff for the quick buck. And we're lucky in this day and age where you could make money reviewing cupcakes or toys or TV shows. Like, there's people who are like, The Bachelor comes out and they do a little recap show on YouTube, and they're making money off this. So I feel like it's great that you're able to take things that you're passionate about and make them into a business. Because if you're just doing something to make money, sometimes you might fall short.
Yeah, and I think along those same lines, when I first envisioned opening the Flavor Labs, my role in it was always going to be like the business end, because that's where I had experience. As much as I love children and food, I felt like I could kind of oversee it and run it. My role was never to teach. And COVID sort of forced my hand on that. And it forced me to not only learn how to teach a cooking class, but how to do it alone in my kitchen, speaking to people through my laptop, which is completely unnerving. But again, I think it's about doing something you're passionate about, but also not being afraid to take on all those other roles. Like you said, your staff could leave you. When I first opened, I mean, I was the janitor. I was tech support. I literally did I couldn't hire people in the beginning. I did everything. And I didn't know how to do most of those things. My expertise was in sort of strategy and finance and operations, like thinking about things big picture and how to execute on them, not actually, implementing everything.
Building the gingerbread cookie.
Right. Now
you do 100 in like 5 seconds flat. I saw that. I saw that video. 5 seconds flat is 100 gingerbread cookies made. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. So kind of going about, we have some, the Undefeated Media team has given me some nice questions to ask you. And we're kind of in this realm right now. Whereas the question is, what challenges did you face in the initial stages of your business and how did you overcome it? We're kind of like in that right now. So like you got to figure out how to go live and do online classes. So what kind of challenges besides that, maybe like when things started to open up and you could actually be in your location and actually run your business the way it should have been? Like what kind of challenges did you?
I think the biggest challenge when we first really started moving was finding staff.
Okay.
Because I was reaching my burnout point really quickly. I mean, I was teaching, I was developing curriculum, I was trying to figure out what our strategy was. Like, how do we implement? How do we launch a class? How do you throw a birthday party? What are your guardrails? Like figuring all that out and then actually doing it all myself. So finding assistants, finding instructors. It took me over a year before I hired another instructor, which was a pivotal moment in the Flavor Lab sort of evolution, because it finally enabled me to step back. But I would say the biggest challenge in the beginning was really finding staff and being able to let go and trust them to do the jobs that I hired them for, because it was my baby, I created it all myself, and it's really hard to sort of let go and give somebody else those responsibilities, but it's critical that you do that.
Absolutely. So I feel like a lot of businesses right now are having trouble staffing and finding the right people. So on this subject, what would make a great Flavor Labs employee?
Well, I've got about 26 of them now.
Wow,
so
really?
I feel very fortunate. And I think it's a combination of a few things. I'm lucky that I have great staff. And I think the job that my employees have makes it easy for them to do a good job, right? Because they like what they're doing. A good Flavor Labs employee is someone who's good with children, someone who can think on the fly, someone who's flexible, and someone that's not afraid to take responsibility. We have a pretty standardized way that we run our classes and our parties, but again, we're dealing with children and their parents, and things come up. And having employees, both instructors and assistants, who are able to adapt and to know when to respond to issues and when to sort of move things along is really important. Everything we do is timed, and we spent a lot of time really building out the flow and the sequencing, and it's important that our employees understand that, and they do, and they enjoy their job, so it makes it a lot easier for them to do it successfully. Yeah,
I'm sure if you have like back-to-back classes, like 10 minutes could totally ruin your day.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we have 15 minutes in between.
Yeah, and
like turnover. Not only get everyone out of there, we got to clean, set it up, and then welcome the next group in.
Yeah, because they could be making cookies in the first class and spaghetti and meatballs in the second class, and
nobody wants chocolate chips in their spaghetti.
Although spaghetti with chocolate chips might be.
I don't know. Have you seen Elf?
Yes,
maple syrup,
yes, absolutely. That's delicious. delicious. So I want to remind you guys that we are live. So if you at home have a question, comment, concern, please put it in the comments section. We will answer it live today with Casey. Our first one just came in. It's from Jen. Jen asked, do you run the business with your husband? If so, do you guys work well together?
I do not. Okay. So my husband is still working in his corporate job. Someone's got to pay the bills. No, I'm just kidding. We don't work together. And I think he is very intentional about giving me my space because he wants this to be my thing. He's extremely supportive, always has been. And I think it's good to have him as a sounding board that's not part of the organization, because he can be extremely impartial. So we do work well together in that sense. But I think the fact that he sort of kept his job and works on the side has been really beneficial to my development.
Awesome. Great stuff. We talked about why food, why children, why kids.
It's satisfying, and it's if you've ever seen a kid kind of go through a process where they start with something that they're uncomfortable with, and by the end of it, there's this sense of satisfaction and pride and ownership. And you can do that in many professions, right? And teachers, I'm sure, get that a lot. But at the Flavor Labs, when we see these children come in, they're intimidated, they're unsure of themselves, their parents aren't quite sure if they can leave them on their own, and we encourage them to do so because kids do much better when they're not with their parents and they work independently. But to see that spark, that sense of accomplishment, it's amazing. Kids have a natural curiosity that I think sometimes we lose as we get older. So being able to sort of harness that and turn it into something really constructive and something tangible like food it's wildly satisfying for us and for the children.
Awesome. That's amazing and wonderful. But I'm going to also give you a little bit of layup here. Do you guys do stuff besides just kids stuff?
We do. Absolutely. So thank you for asking that. So we started out with children, and we realized that from feedback we got from parents and other people that were coming in, that there was definitely demand or a need for classes for adults. So we now offer a wide variety of things. We have classes where children can come in with their parents and make pasta together, for example, or we can do a mom's night out. Moms make pasta on their own. They bring in some wine. We have mixology classes where, just a group of adults come in and learn how to make some drinks. And we've done a bunch of corporate events. We've had companies like Pfizer and Unilever come in, rent out our space and do, whether it's a holiday party or a team building activity, it's a great way for adults to get together. We're doing a bachelorette party in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So it should be fun.
Absolutely. Maybe I should come film that one.
Yeah.
So ladies, yeah, we've done, I've seen ladies night. People have a lot of fun. I've seen the networking stuff. Yeah, so it's way more than just, a kids cookie studio. Like you have tons of things and events that people can do all year round. What's your favorite dish?
My favorite
dish. Flavor Labs lesson?
Oh, I think one of my favorites is lava cake.
Yeah.
Because I always ask at the beginning of class, whether we're doing it with the children or adults, what is it that makes the lava inside the cake? And 9 times out of 10, everyone thinks you're, putting some sort of chocolate syrup inside the cake. What is it? Is not the case.
What is it?
I can't tell you. You have to take the class.
Oh, secrets. Find out. Yeah. Find out. Go to here. I'll pull it up right now for everybody at home. Go to flavorlabs.com to learn what is in the lava cakes. Awesome. Great stuff. So then we don't have to give us the lava cake secret ingredient, but where do you get your ideas for the projects and the lessons?
I spend a lot of time just going through cookbooks and recipes. The hardest part is once I find something I like, or I think that our students will like, is taking it and scaling it down. So I think what a lot of people don't realize is there's so much that goes on behind the scenes to make these classes work. Students show up and their recipes or their ingredients are sort of set up for them already. They're not coming in and trying to find the flour and the sugar and figuring out how much they need, because we have a set amount of time when we got to get, certain things done. So we have enough time for your cookies to come out of the oven by the time, you're ready to go home. And so I think one of the biggest challenges is finding a recipe and scaling it down. So a recipe for cookies generally would make about 24 cookies. If we had everyone making 24 cookies, we'd be in there all week. Just with one class. So we have to scale them down, figure out how to change the proportions. And the math isn't always easy. So kind of tweaking things here and there to make sure it works. We do a lot of recipe testing, which is one of the perks of the job, I have to say. But it's just a lot of trial and error, finding things that I like or that I think children will like. We do a different theme for our semester classes every season. So we've got our winter semester starting up next week. Nice. And that's movie inspired dishes. So, I spent some time going through some of my favorite movies and some of the popular movies with our kids and finding things that I thought would be fun. Yeah. So for example, for Barbie, we're going to make pink berry swirl donuts. Ooh. Or we're doing a Minion muffin top banana creation. So there's some fun things that, you just take inspiration from things that are out there and that have worked well in the past and kind of tweak them.
Ghostbusters green slime.
That green sounds like icing, a good one.
Like a cake, maybe green icing slime over. Yeah, little Ghostbusters. There you go.
I don't think it's this generation.
You don't like Ghostbusters?
I don't know, Doug.
What's the Paw Patrol? Paw Patrol's the cool thing now?
Maybe.
What's in? Well, we are live, so if you know what's in right now, please put in the question, comments, or concerns, and we'll answer them live with you guys today. So you kind of talked about managing proportions and juggling, life, kind of, with juggling the Flavor Labs, but like, how do you juggle life? Like, how does work-life balance work for you? And what strategies do you try to avoid so you don't get burned out?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And one of the reasons I was eager to embrace this challenge and taking on my own business was because I, ironically, I guess, thought that it would give me more time with my family. And it does, because I'm local now. I've got my studio is 4 minutes from our house. One of them, and I'm just around more to see my kids, and my kids are actually part of our business now. So I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they're very involved in our classes. Yes. They love coming. They wear the Flavor Labs t-shirts all the time. They're like my little mini brand reps.
Nice.
But that being said, it's very demanding. There's always work that needs to be done, and sometimes things happen and people get sick or staffing changes come in, and I've got to be close and I've got to run in and cover. So being able to carve out time where I have the staff in place where I can trust them to run things. I've got a really strong studio manager. I've got a really strong assistant manager. And they know, this past weekend we went to Vermont, and I told them, look, I'm away. Things come up and they need to be escalated. Let me know, but you guys are running the show. So having really strong staff is critical to being able to kind of pull away. And now I came in today and I was ready to sort of re-engage and take on everything that's coming up now.
Awesome. So yeah, today is the start. I know, depending on when you're watching this, even though we are live and most of you are watching this live today, it's January 8th. Any big things, excitement for 2024? I know here at Undefeated Media, it felt we feel a little jazzed up. We're excited for what's to come. We got a lot of things in the works, and it kind of happened that these things are starting at the beginning of 2024. So we're super excited. We have a lot of aspirations for 2024. How do you feel about 2024?
We're really excited. There's a lot of things that we want to do. We've got a growing list, right? And it's, you got to kind of chip it piecemeal just because you can't take it all on at once. True. One of the things that we're doing starting next week or 2 weeks from now is after school enrichment programs. So we are actually going to 5 different schools on a weekly basis on site. So we're not doing it in our own studio, but we're going to schools, and we're going to be doing cooking classes with students in their schools. Yep.
That's really awesome.
So
you heard it here first. I didn't even hear that yet. You heard it here first. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have more questions coming in. Connor asks, hey, Casey, love the business. Do you foresee any of your students really taking off with cooking and maybe getting into the culinary arts?
It's a great question. We've had a couple students. One of the girls that took our class, I think she started probably 2 years ago. She started her own cookie business. She's 9 or 10. She has her own Instagram page. Her parents are always sending us things that she's making and selling. Loves it. And we get one of the best parts of this job are the emails and pictures we get from our parents, especially around the holidays. Like, look what Johnny made for the family. He took inspiration from the s'mores cookies he made in class last week. Or, Marshall's been making appetizers for our family parties every week, and these are the things that he loves making. And so I think a lot of the students have taken inspiration from what they've done, and they're sort of growing it into their own thing. Whether that means going to culinary school or starting a little side hustle, it's great for them because they're identifying things that they're passionate about.
Well, the kid who made cookies from your cooking class, I think he owes you like 5% of the proceeds because that's your cookie recipe. But we'll talk about that off air. But we are live, so keep the questions coming. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Connor, for tuning in. If you guys have a question, please put in the comments section. I know what you're going to say because you kind of already said it before. But what is the most rewarding aspect of being an entrepreneur and running the Flavor Labs?
Aside from sort of the engagement and interaction with children and their families, I have to say, I take a step back every now and then, and it's the end of the year, or it was the end of the year, and I'm looking over my financials, and I was looking over my payroll expenses, which can make your brain explode when you think about all this money, but it also makes me feel really great that we have 26 employees on payroll right now. which is a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
So to think that, this little business that I started out of my kitchen, essentially in the middle of COVID, turned into something where I'm able to give 26 people a paycheck,
right,
is wildly satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a crazy thing to think about. But that's, I think, aside from, the interaction with children and their families, that's one of the most satisfying things, is just knowing that I'm helping to contribute to all these kids and adults.
So we didn't talk about any of these questions. We're just kind of riffing here, but you've been just great with the transition, so that you're just setting me up every time. So you talk about, the 26 employees. So let's dive into we don't have to dive into business and numbers, but what are do you set any goals, or do you have any KPIs? It's going to be Carl, if you're ever watching, KPIs, key performance indicators. Do you have anything that you focus on, or you're looking into maybe setting some goals? Like, what is that kind of look like?
Did my husband ask you to put this question in?
No comment.
Yeah.
He can comment. We could bring him in live if he puts it in the comment section.
So just for background, my husband is an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
has his master's in electrical engineering, and then got his master's in business. That's where we met. So he is a very sort of methodical and calculated person. And he's been asking me over the last month, when are you putting together your plan for 2024? Where are your numbers? How are you going to know if you're successful if you don't set your goals?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he probably got in your ear on this one. But, one of the things that I'm trying to get better at and thinking about as we grow is well, first identifying a baseline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we opened in 2020 in the middle of COVID, so nothing was normal.
Mm-hmm.
2021 was the first full year, and things were sort of coming back into play. And then towards the end of 2022, we started investing in opening up our second location. And then 2023, we had 2 locations running. So there's really no baseline. So I'm looking forward to 2024 being a year where I can sort of measure how everything's going, compare it to what we've seen in the past, but also develop sort of a baseline for growth going forward.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of moving targets, but one of the things I really want to stay on top of, making sure we're growing and we are sort of focusing on the right things, is aligning our staffing with our headcount for our parties and for our classes.
And I feel like that's some of the business. Carl's going to be shaking his head when I say this, so I hope he's not watching this part right here. But I feel like it's some of the magic, because we're similar in that aspect, where it's almost impossible when you first start, because there's so much. You need to get the stove, you need to get the camera, you need to get, you know what I mean? So it's almost impossible. What does this actually cost me? What's actually going in the door? What's actually going out the door? So we're in a similar position where now, after a few years, you could be like, all right, this is what comes in, this is what goes out, this is how many employees I have coming in. And I feel like some of the magic of when you first start, of just being, on the fly, taking care of things when they need to get taken care of, is what really propels businesses, because they're focusing on what matters in the moment, rather than what matters for some people be like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to get the cheap spoons over the expensive spoons, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But in the moment when you're first starting, you're like, all right, this is what I want to do. This is how I want it to portray and what it all looks like. Jen says our husbands would make great friends. So apparently Jen's husband is very analytical and is all about the funds as well. Great stuff. We are live, guys. So yeah, please put a question, comment, or concern in there, and we'll answer it live with Casey. Casey, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? What's going on with
goodness.
you? Not to put you on the spot, but anything that comes to mind?
No, I mean, I'm just excited. I'm glad you asked about what's new this year, because we've got this on-site curriculum that we've been developing, and we're starting in 5 schools with the hope of expanding it even further going forward. Another thing that we're hoping to launch either in later this winter or in the spring are more adult classes, but specific classes, like knife skill classes, meal prep classes. Yeah, we've had
hibachi knife skill.
We're going to start slow.
Okay.
We'll work our way up. But yeah,
all right.
definitely knife skills. We've had actually a bunch of people reach out. In particular, we had a group of mothers who now define themselves as empty nesters, and they no longer have, kids to cook for. So, what do they do? How do they get out of their rut of making the same old things? They don't want to order in. So coming up with some meal prep classes or different ways to engage different sort of demographics. So those are some of the things that we're thinking about. And then another thing, and I'm saying it out loud to hold myself accountable.
Manifest. I like it.
Yeah. Is potentially expanding to have some sort of not quite a food truck, but a mobile sort of cart where we can go and do some of what we're doing in schools starting in this semester. We can do for birthday parties at people's houses.
Nice.
So picture you're having a house party, right?
Yeah.
You've got, your Elsa is coming, and you've got your balloons, and you have a ball pit or whatever, and you want the kids to have some extra activity. Well, Flavor Labs, may want to roll up for an hour, and kids can decorate cookies or decorate cupcakes. Not really so much cooking, but doing something like make edible cookie dough, stuff like that.
Well, I mean, like realistically, a pizza oven and just like a regular oven or some kind of heating thing. You get a little tabletop that comes down. The kids can make, Elsa cupcakes. I'm sure that wouldn't be too extraneous on a mobile unit. And it just adds a little more spice to the party. So Casey did mention that, Casey is absolutely right. She's not exaggerating. If you have an idea or something you want to do, she makes it happen, whether it's ladies' night, bachelorette parties, the drinks, the drink mixology classes, you name it. So if you have a question or you have an idea or an event or party that you like to do, she also does great business networking, not only for different businesses to come together, but also for a whole like business outing. What would you call that?
Like team building.
Team building. Yeah. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. So if you're interested in that, or you have an idea, you can email Casey at inquiries@theflavorlabs.com. Is that the right one?
It is.
Sweet. So you can email Casey there and express that you have an idea. You want to do chocolate kisses, drinks, night, whatever.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, right. So definitely email Casey if you have an idea or you're looking to do an event yourself. But yeah, this has been great. What else is going on? I want to make sure we touch base on everything.
Maybe we haven't talked about birthday parties.
Ooh.
Kids parties.
Yeah. So a lot of people do birthday parties with you. What does that look like?
So our standard party is for ages 6 and up. We call it our mini chef, and sort of our what's the word that I'm drawing a blank.
People getting together.
No, the word for something. It's like your standard. Like this is our offering. This is like the thing that everyone comes
package,
back to.
The standard. Oh, our bread and butter.
Yeah, our sort of the quintessential birthday party. It's our mini chef.
Okay.
And it's for ages 6 and up, and we've had 12-year-olds do it and 6-year-olds do it. It's a 90-minute party. Kids make donuts or cookies. If you want to add on an extra half an hour, you can make cupcakes. But all of our parties, the kids make their own pizza and they make their own dessert from scratch. And whatever dessert that is, they make 6 of them. And our parties are designed so that parents do not have to do a thing. You don't have to bring plates. You don't have to bring a cake. You don't have to bring balloons. You just show up and we have taken care of all of it. We have the options to add favors onto parties. So you literally show up. Like, we've had moms call us up in a panic the day of their kids' parties. Like, are you sure? Do I bring water? Do I have to bring forks? Like, we've got everything covered. That's kind of our bread and butter because we've really thought it through from end to end. And we've done over 600 parties at this point. Like we've got it down.
Yeah.
So just show up. And enjoy the party.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If I was a parent that had like a 5-year-old, I wouldn't want to have one. You don't have to clean up after the mess. So they're going to destroy Flavor Labs kitchen. They're not going to destroy your kitchen. And you don't have to worry about it. So you get to go home. At the end of the day, having all these people come to your house, they're probably going to be there for 4 or 5 hours. It's a little bit more strange. And you're just get out. Whereas now you come to Flavor Labs, it's like, here's your time and like, see you later.
Yeah.
So I'm sure as a parent of like a 5-year-old, like you're counting down the seconds for this birthday party to end. So there's like a lot of check marks that definitely.
I'm glad you mentioned 5-year-olds though, because I said our quintessential package is really for ages 6 and up, but we have birthday parties for 4 and 5-year-olds, which are sort of me and my grown-up. So it's for parents that come to assist their children. And it's again 90 minutes. We keep it pretty simple so the kids can sort of work well, make their cookies, make their pizza, eat it, and then go on their merry way. And then for those other parties, they're drop off, right? So and a lot of parents of 6-year-olds their kids have, the last couple of years haven't been having birthday parties. They don't really know how it works.
Yeah.
And they come and they're like, oh, so I can just leave for 90 minutes? Like, all right, I'll see you. So that's another really great benefit of our parties too, is that we're used to watching those 6-year-olds and making sure everybody stays safe. So you can drop your kids off and come back at the end of the party.
Wonderful. So we have my child and I, what is it?
Me and my
grown up, right? So we have the me and my grown up, which is like 4 and 5-year-olds. We have the regular quintessential standard
That's the word.
age birthday parties, which is like what, 5 to
ages 6 and up.
6 and up. Excuse me, sorry, 6 and up. And then you started doing some teen stuff.
Yeah, we have teen stuff. So we sort of intermediate before we get to teen. We've got ages 9 and up. We do Nailed It parties, which are 2-hour parties, and we give the kids a design. If you've ever seen the show Nailed It, it's not as cutthroat, but we give them a design and they're challenged to replicate that design. So, over the rainbow cupcakes or galaxy donuts or something along those lines. So that's for ages 9 and up. For ages 12 and up, we do cupcake wars.
Nice.
Where the kids are on their own. They measure their ingredients. They figure out what kind of cupcakes they're going to make. They have to design, and then they get judged at the end based on presentation, taste, and creativity.
Wonderful.
So that's a fun one. And yes, teens are a new group that we've been going after. So we've actually have a teen 4-week around the world cooking program starting up on the 18th of January.
Nice.
So we've done a couple teen classes and we're starting to get some traction, but we're really trying to get some more people of that age group in our kitchen, because we know there are people that are interested. We just don't think they've really heard about us yet. So spread the word. Teen classes starting on the 18th.
Absolutely. And you can find those classes at theflavorlabs.com. So check that out. Maybe something that we could think about is like a contest where like they come and they compete. The kids come and bring in like, because at the teen level, if they're really serious about it, they probably have, these cookies that they made. Maybe they come and do like a cooking show, compete, like Hell's Kitchen. What is it? I don't know what the show is called, where they all come and they get like handed ingredients and yeah. So maybe we do a little competition.
Yeah.
Get the competitive juices flowing. So, the pre-kids, the 5 to 4 5, then we have 6 and up, then we have 9 to teen. Teens are on the rise, and then the adults. Did we miss anybody? Did we leave anybody out?
I think we got them all. We've got 2-year-olds through adults, and our classes. I mentioned this earlier, but we do have combinations, right? Where it's not just a me and my grown-up class. Like a 12-year-old can come in with her dad. We have actually class this Friday for parents and their kids to take together. We're making baked macaroni and cheese with a cheese sauce from scratch and s'mores cookies. Ooh. So that's a good example of something where kids and parents can come in together, because sometimes they don't want to drop their kids off. They want to have an experience together, and it doesn't matter how old they are. They just want to kind of spend some quality time. So it's a unique way to sort of have a bonding experience. It's different than just going to a restaurant. Or
in this day and age when everyone's glued to technology and phones and stuff, like what's going to be happening more and more is people are going to be going to do stuff for the experience, because like you can only get so much in your lazy boy chair while looking at your cell phone. You get to go out and experience the Flavor Labs. Yep. So last chance, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the comments section. We'll answer them live with Casey. What else is on your mind? What else is going on?
I'm just excited for the new year. I feel like I've had a couple weeks to sort of recover, and we're going to hit the ground running. We got a lot going on. We got a busy January, and February is always a crazy month. Valentine's Day coming up. Yeah. We've got
what's going on for Valentine's Day?
Yeah. So we've got, one of our classes is already sold out, which is crazy, but we do a lot of parent and children classes again for Valentine's Day. And those classes always sell out. We call it daddy, daughter, mother, son, but it can be any combination.
Me and my lover.
It's a date night.
Cupid and I.
Yep. But we're making, I think this year our 60-minute class, we're doing, I think red velvet crinkle cookies, which are really good.
So if you're interested in that, go check out theflavorlabs.com. All the classes for the most part are up on the website. They can just sign up.
Yeah, we've got classes, I think, through February booked. We've got Martin Luther King class next week. I think we even have February break camp posted already. So.
Oh, yes. That's one thing we didn't touch base on. Camp. So what is camp? So we have, if you go to Flavor Lab, I'm looking at it right now. If you go to flavorlabs.com, you could sign up individual classes. Like tomorrow is the quesadillas and guac, me and my grown-up, cheesy pizza, snowflake confetti donuts, macaroni and cheese. There's only single classes, but you also offer mini camps. And camps, what is that about?
So when kids are off from school, that's when we are our busiest. So that includes, single days where schools close or even half days. So Monday, Martin Luther King Day, we've got camp sessions in the morning in Norwood and Paramus. Our camp sessions are usually a half day, so 3 hours. And it's just a good way to get your kids out of the house, keep them busy doing something productive, and they come home with lots of food. And we give them snacks and water. So they just like our birthday parties, just drop your kids off. You don't need anything. We'll feed them and we'll take care of them and we'll send them home with even more food.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that also is at theflavorlabs.com.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're going to be working on over the next few weeks, believe it or not, kind of makes my head hurt that we're already there, but is starting to plan for summer camp.
That's crazy.
I know.
Time is flying.
It is.
Flying too fast.
Yeah.
So is summer camp and summer classes, is that a little bit different than a mini camps, or?
So summer camp, typically you'll sign up for a full week.
Yeah.
So you'll do 5 days, either the 9 to 12 session in the morning or a 1 to 4 session in the afternoon. And the offerings vary based on the age group and the studio location.
Nice.
But yeah, generally 3 hours. Some people have asked in the past for a full day. We're trying to figure out if there are other local businesses that we could partner with. But right now, a full day sort of in a kitchen is a lot because there's really nowhere for kids to go and get their energy out. So we find that that's a lot for kids to sit still. But for now, so the 3 hours have worked really well. And generally for summer, they sign up for a full week.
Nice.
Or more. I mean, you can sign up for up to 4 weeks without repeating any recipes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Last chance, everybody. If you have a question, comment, concern, please put it in the comments section. What else is on your mind, Casey? I want to make sure we have no stone unturned.
No stone unturned.
No stone unturned. No stone. No. You got me tongue-tied. No stone unturned. We talked about classes outside the studio. We talked about birthday parties. We talked about mixology. We talked about.
I got a good one.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that we're starting to engage schools now doing after school enrichment programs.
Mm-hmm.
Another way that we engage with schools is with fundraisers.
Ooh.
So we've been doing this actually for the last few years, since 2020 actually. Valentine's Day happens to be our busiest fundraiser season. We do Valentine's Day cookie kits.
Nice.
So we'll sell cookie kits. We do everything through our website. So if you're a PTO member, PTA member, or any organization for that matter that's looking to raise money, reach out to us. We'll set up a link for you to share with your school or your organization.
Nice.
We'll handle all the orders, all the fulfillment, and then we donate 20% of whatever proceeds we make back to your organization.
That is amazing. So basically, they're going to get, let's say, cookies, right? How to make? They're going to get the recipe. They're going to get the ingredients. They're going to get mailed to them.
So 2 different things. One, cookie kits where they actually just get the pre-made cookies with frosting and they decorate them.
Got it.
Which is that's a lot of fun.
Okay.
The other one is we also do blondie kits where we give you the ingredients to make blondies and then you just add a butter and an egg at home.
Nice.
So those are 2 different fundraiser types that we could do.
Beautiful.
And what's worked well in the past is people either come to the studio to pick it up, or we can have everything dropped off at your school or your organization and people then just distribute it from there.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So if that is something that you're interested in, you're an organization, you would email inquiries at flavorlabs.com. That is awesome. And you guys are doing great work. And that's, you're doing the good deed. Doing the good deed.
Yeah.
Anything else top of mind?
I've got a lot going through my brain now, Doug.
Go ahead. Let it rip. We're live here. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask Casey, please put it in the comments section. We'll answer it live, but we talked about a lot.
Yeah, I mentioned before, but we've got our semesters, our 8-week program starting up next week.
Yep.
We've got a Me and My Grown Up 2 to 5 age group that meets on Wednesdays. We've got a 6 to 9 age group that meets on Tuesdays, and a 10 to 13 age group that meets on Thursdays. And we've got these running in both our Norwood and our Paramus studios.
Nice.
And the semester runs for 8 weeks, and each week you make something different. And this theme I mentioned earlier is based on our favorite movies, so movie-inspired dishes. I think our first class, we are making Harry Potter butterbeer cookies.
All right.
Which are... They're really good.
Okay.
I unfortunately got stuck taste testing and eating all the cookies. It's a tough job. But that's starting up next week. And today is actually the first day that we opened it up for single day registrations. So if you can't commit to the full 8 weeks, you can drop into, the classes that do work for you.
Gotcha. And you should probably look at that sooner rather than later because the single classes are going to fill up, and you want to leave space for the full week people.
Exactly. So the full weeks have booked a lot of the spots. So there may be a couple here and there for single drop-ins.
So you better go to flavorlabs.com ASAP and sign up for your classes. Anything else? Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
Oh my goodness. I don't think so.
Cool.
Okay.
If something comes to mind, let me know, because we're going to do right now the speed round.
Ooh, okay.
We're going to get to know Casey a little bit more personally, a little less about the business, a little bit more personally. We're going to ask you rapid fire questions, and first thing that comes to mind.
Okay. Purple.
Sweet. B-Rock, are you ready? Casey, are you ready?
I am ready. As ready as I'm going to be.
Let the speed round commence. First question was, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
What is your favorite food?
Fish tacos.
Nice. What is your favorite dessert?
Lava cake.
Awesome. What is your favorite movie?
Dumb and Dumber.
Nice. Favorite TV show?
Ted Lasso.
Me too. Ted Lasso, this is one of my questions, is he asks everybody first concert, best concert. And he's like, yes, and the boss. So what's your first concert? What's your best concert?
First concert was Alanis Morissette.
Wow.
Best concert was Chris Stapleton.
Nice. Favorite sport?
Baseball.
Favorite team?
Yankees.
Do you have a football team?
I mean, it's hard to be a New York or New Jersey football fan.
Yeah. So
Giants? Question mark?
Yeah, sure. When they're winning.
Last night, yes.
Okay. Favorite thing to do that has nothing to do, which is gonna be tough for you, nothing to do with work. So it can't be cooking. It can't. So favorite thing to do, or hobby that you do that has nothing to do with business.
Running.
Nice. Have you ran like a triathlon or something?
I've done a couple marathons.
Wow. Nice. Favorite book?
Anxious People.
Is that like nonfiction?
No, it's a fiction book.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the author. It's a really good book, though.
Okay, so how about nonfiction? Like do you have a favorite business book or something you like to share with the people?
I know Adam Grant's got a lot of great stuff, but I can't think of anything offhand. Blink's a good one, actually. It's not Adam Grant. Okay. Blink's a good
Sweet.
book.
There you go. Favorite thing you're streaming? Are you streaming anything on any of the Disney Plus, Netflix?
Not huge into TV. I prefer reading.
Okay.
I could tell you what book I'm reading. How's that?
What book are you reading right now?
I just finished the Heaven and Earth grocery store, and last night I started Fourth Wing.
Sweet. B-Rock, any questions? That was pretty much most of them. Last chance, anyone in the comment section, you have a rapid fire question for Casey, put it in there. But I think Casey survived. Rapid fire.
Barely.
Rapid fire. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. I need to eat something. Drawing a blank. The speed round, fast round. There you go.
See, our words are just something in the air, sucking them up.
Owl now, brown cow. So last chance.
San Diego.
Last chance live right now with Casey. Last chance if you have a question, put it in the comments section. But I think we covered a lot. I think we covered everything Flavor Labs related. So if you're interested in going to the Flavor Labs, getting a class, go to flavorlabs.com. Have something for literally every age group. And then if you have an idea that you'd like to share with Casey or do a class or an event at the Flavor Labs, make sure to email inquiries at theflavorlabs.com. Last chance, Casey. Anything else?
Just excited for the year to start and to bring lots of new people into our studio.
Beautiful. Casey, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Doug Freidman Show.